Hello there, welcome back to the Ideal World YouTube channel. My name is Joe Remblance, and in this series of videos I'm going to be sharing some fun, easy but still delicious recipes for you that you can try at home in your air fryer. Now, I know lots of you struggle with sort of mid-week dinner ideas, so in this video let's create something delicious on that very theme. So a really quick and easy midweek meal that I love to make at home in my air fryer is this dish I'm going to share with you now. So we're going to do some herb crusted salmon with some chorizo potatoes. Lots of people talk about being healthy and having fish and vegetables. Potatoes a vegetable, right? Of course it is. So we're going to include that in there. So I've got some ingredients here for you. A couple of really lovely Scottish salmon fillets, which are here. And we're going to make a little herb crust with that. So I've got some dill, some parsley, some panko breadcrumbs. We've got some Parmesan here and some lemon, and then we're going to take these beautiful Jersey Royal new potatoes. These are bang in season at the moment, absolutely delicious. We're going to elevate those a little bit by adding a little bit of chorizo in there as well. So first off, let's get the potatoes chopped up and the chorizo. We'll get those going and then we'll come back and have a look at the salmon. Right, we're going to start by chopping up the potatoes. Now, I have used some beautiful Jersey Royal new potatoes for this recipe. You can really use whatever you want. This will also work with chips too, or wedges if you wanted to, even maybe sweet potatoes or cubed regular potatoes. There really is no hard and fast rules when it comes to creating these recipes. We're just going to add a few of those into our bowl. I am going to mix that with a little bit of oil too in just a second, so why don't we add that oil in now. I really love using cold pressed British rapeseed oil in all of the recipes that I prepare in my air fryer for a few reasons. Rapeseed oils is like a good all-round oil, so it's something you can use for pretty much everything, whether it is marinades, dressing, or in cooking like this. It has a really high smoke point, and it's also really high in omega vitamins as well, which is brilliant. So it's a great oil to be using. A few more of our potatoes into there, so they're going to be really lovely and sweet and delicious. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some Spanish chorizo into here as well. Now this is optional. I just think it gives it a really lovely sort of smoky, garlicky flavour to the potatoes. We could also, if we wanted to, add things like rosemary in here at this point as well, or any herbs or spices that you've got laying around in your kitchen. The thing is as well, when you air fry these, they are like little golden crispy delicious nuggets within your potatoes too. So we're just going to throw those into there. We'll add a bit more sausage. There's always room for a bit more sausage, isn't there? Let's throw that into here. And then all we're going to do is simply give that a really good mix around. Now I'm going to pop this into my air fryer. I'm using a dual drawer air fryer. You could do this in a single drawer air fryer if you wanted to. You would just start to cook the potatoes first and then add the salmon element in. But we're just going to pop this straight into the drawer of the air fryer. In they go. And we are going to get these going. Let's cook these for, I reckon, 25 minutes. Around about 200 on air fry will be enough. So I'm just going to set the temperature to 200. Let's set that timer to 25 minutes, and then we can turn our attention to the salmon. I absolutely love salmon. It is packed full of essential fatty acids. It's something that's really great to include in your diet, and to be fair, if you just pop it into your air fryer and air fry that as is, you'll get something delicious. But this is a fancy YouTube video, so we're going to have to create a fancy salmon dish for it. So what I'm going to do firstly is I've got my salmon fillets just here. So we're going to firstly top these off with a little bit of pesto. Now I'm using a green basil pesto. It's completely up to you what you want to put on there. You could leave the pesto off if you wanted to. Sun-dried tomato pesto also works really well, but just anything really that's going to help the breadcrumb topping adhere to the salmon itself. So that's perfect. That is our salmon sorted when it comes to the pesto. Now we're going to make a bit of a breadcrumb topping as well. So for this, I'm using panko breadcrumbs. These are a sort of Japanese style breadcrumb. They're going to work. Any breadcrumb you've got really should be absolutely fine. What I would always say is if it's fresh breadcrumbs you've got, then a brilliant way of using up any kind of leftovers. So that is our breadcrumbs in there. Let's add into there as well a little bit of lemon zest. This bit is completely optional, this part, just going to give our fish a lovely sort of zingy citrus flavour, so we'll pop that into there. And we're also going to pop some Parmesan cheese into here. You could kind of add any cheese you wanted to, really. Another great way of just using up any leftover bits and bobs that you've got in the bottom of your fridge, or you could use a pecorino, works really beautifully as well in this recipe too. So we're going to add those into there, and then we're going to add some herbs. I've got a couple of different herbs here, so I've got some fresh flat leaf parsley, and also I've got some dill here too. Both of these work super well with all fish, so it's really great. A lot of people maybe like to pick their herbs and remove the stalks and stems. I'm not sure we need to do that. All I'm going to do is just really roughly slice these up, chop them down, and we'll mix that through with our breadcrumb, parmesan and lemon zest topping. So in that goes into here. I'm quite mucky in the kitchen. I know a lot of people like to clean as they go. I tend to just push all the mess to one side, so we'll deal with that in a moment. Now the other thing we can do, we need to add a bit of moisture into these breadcrumbs. We need something to make it kind of bind together a little bit. I'm going to do it of a couple of different ways. So I'm going to put a little bit of lemon juice in there. All lemon juice, probably going to be a little bit too tart and bitter, so we'll do part lemon juice, and we'll add a little bit of oil into there as well, and we'll just start to bring that together until it just kind of starts to bind itself together, just so as we can then pop that down onto our salmon fillets. Also, having a little bit of oil in there will stop the breadcrumbs burning as well, so we don't want those breadcrumbs to colour too much on the fish before the fish itself is absolutely cooked through. When it comes to cooking the fish as well, again, it depends really how you like your salmon. I like mine with a little bit of colour still on the inside of there, so I'm probably going to cook mine for about 10 minutes or so. That's going to still have a little bit of colour or a little bit of sort of tenderness, be a little pink on the inside. If you want it cooked through, absolutely you can do that. This is a really great way, a herb crust on any kind of meat or fish is a really great way of keeping some of the tenderness in, because of course you're putting like a little sort of breadcrumb coat on it, which means that it's going to help to keep that moisture in. You can be really rough with this. I'm just sort of popping it on. I'm going to then just flatten it down a little bit, because obviously with the air fryer we've got that fan inside, so I want to make sure we've patted it down a little bit just so all those breadcrumbs don't blow around too much within the machine. So let's pop this in the machine and get this cooking. Right, that's the time up. The air fryer has turned itself off, so let's come and have a little look at what we have got. These potatoes are looking absolutely yummalicious. The great thing about adding the chorizo into here is that the potatoes, they soak up all of that lovely smoky paprika flavour from the sausage, which is brilliant. And I just love these baby potatoes roasted in the air fryer. They are so crispy, but really super sweet as well. So I'm just going to pile some of those up on our plate first. And then what we're going to do is we're then going to grab our fish from here as well. What you'll see is, I'm just going to grab a spatula and grab this out of here, is that the fish should be really delicately cooked on the inside. So let's just plate that up onto there. You could serve that up with maybe a little bit of salad if you wanted to, maybe some green veg, some mange tout, some beautiful fresh asparagus maybe as well. But let's just have a little cut into that and show you just how beautifully cooked that is. Really lovely, tender, succulent salmon, that beautiful flavour from the crust, and then we've got those potatoes that have soaked up all that deliciousness from that amazing chorizo sausage. So there we have it, a really quick, simple but tasty midweek meal that you can knock up in what, under half an hour. Basic fish and some vegetables, but with a bit of an elevation in there as well. Now if you try this, I'd absolutely love to know how you get on with it. Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to make sure you like the channel, subscribe, like this video, and of course turn on the notifications as well. I think I'm going to tuck into this.